The cost of war extends far beyond the military budget. Hi, I'm Bob Greaves, speaking on behalf of Veterans for Peace, Binghamton Chapter 90. Thanks for listening. The cost of war is much higher than the nearly $1 trillion price tag to pay for military personnel, procurement from merchants of death, operations and maintenance, and military research and development. This culture of violence and death, addicted to the obscene profits generated by a false narrative of the necessity and the glory of war, represents only a small part of the actual costs of war. There are, of course, human costs. Obviously, there is the loss of life. Soldiers and civilians lose their lives in conflict, leading to grief and loss for families and communities. I think it was Timothy McVeigh who made the general public aware of the phrase collateral damage. But few people understand just how large is the toll of collateral damage. Watson Institute for International and Public Affairs believes that 4.5 million to 4.7 million civilians have been killed by bombs, bullets, fire, and other improvised explosive devices and drones by the United States military since 9/11. War kills far more than just those who are the alleged targets. The cost of war is greater than just the military budget. There are injuries and disabilities. Many survivors are left with physical and psychological injuries that last a lifetime. Close to 1/3 of the homeless population are veterans. Injured veterans have much more difficulty readjusting to civilian life. The cost of war is greater than just the military budget. There's displacement. War forces people to flee their homes. It creates refugees who flee to other countries. The UN Refugee Agency estimates there are over 43 million refugees worldwide. Displaced persons face harsh living conditions while seeking safety even within their own country. The UN estimates there were over 117 million forcibly displaced persons at the end of 2023. There are psychological and emotional costs, like trauma. Soldiers and civilians often suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and other mental health issues due to their experiences. As mentioned, homelessness and difficulty adjusting to civilian life are far too common. The grief and loss that families and communities suffer emotionally, they suffer from the loss of loved ones and the destruction of their homes and ways of life. There are social costs. There's a breakdown of communities. War disrupts social networks and community connections, weakening the social fabric. There's educational disruption. Conflict can lead to the closure of schools, denying children and young people the education they need for their future. Currently, all 12 universities in Gaza have been destroyed by the IDF, some by controlled demolition. The cost of war is greater than just the military budget. Economic and developmental costs. Yes, the destruction of infrastructure, roads, hospitals, schools, and other critical infrastructure are damaged or destroyed. The cost of rebuilding can cover decades. This is part of all the economic disruption, where war disrupts all the economic activities, leading to unemployment, poverty, and long-term economic instability. There's the loss of human capital. Skilled workers may be killed, injured, or forced to flee, leading to a loss of expertise in the labor force. Yes, the cost of war is greater than just the military budget. There are environmental costs. Degradation of the environment, because war can lead to pollution, deforestation, and other forms of environmental damage. Resource depletion. Yes, military conflicts involve the exploitation and destruction of natural resources. Resources consumed for war are now unavailable for more humane purposes. The cost of war is greater than just the military budget. There are also political and cultural costs. War leads to political instability, weakened governance, and corruption taking hold throughout a society. There's the loss of cultural heritage. Historical sites, cultural landmarks, and traditional practices are destroyed or lost. The cost of war is greater than just the military budget. There are long-term societal costs. The effects of war can be felt for generations, impacting societal development and cohesion. There are reconstruction challenges. Rebuilding after a war is a lengthy and complex process. Yes, I mentioned it takes decades. Each of these costs contributes to the profound and multifaceted impact of war on individuals, on communities, and on nations. The cost of war is greater than just the military budget and is insanely higher than most people appreciate. I'm Bob Greaves. Thanks for listening.